Have you ever opened a closet, a drawer, or even just walked into a room in your home and felt tired? Not physically tired, but mentally overwhelmed, like there's just too much around you. Maybe it's stacks of old papers, boxes you haven't opened in years, or things you once loved but don't even notice anymore. And somehow, instead of feeling comforted by your home, you feel weighed down by it. If that sounds familiar, you are absolutely not alone. As we move into our 60s and beyond, something interesting happens. Our lives begin to shift. The house that was once full of activity, children, schedules, responsibilities, starts to quiet down. But the stuff? The stuff often stays. Years and years of memories, purchases, just-in-case items, and sentimental things quietly fill every corner. And here's the truth that many women don't talk about enough. All that clutter doesn't just take up space in your home. It takes up space in your mind, your energy, and even your peace. So today, I want to talk with you about something that can truly feel life-changing. Not overwhelming, not exhausting, but simple and doable. We're going to walk through how to declutter your home the quick and easy way, step by step, in a way that actually feels good. This isn't about throwing everything away or living with nothing. It's about choosing what truly matters now, in this stage of your life. It's about creating a space that supports you, calms you, and gives you room to breathe. And the best part? You don't have to do it all at once. Let's start with something that may sound almost too simple, but it's where everything begins. The first idea is this: start small. I know how tempting it is to look at a full room or a packed garage and think, I need to tackle all of this. But that's exactly what makes decluttering feel so overwhelming. When the task feels too big, we delay it. We avoid it. And before we know it, months, or even years, go by. Instead, I want you to imagine something different. Imagine opening just one drawer. Not the whole kitchen. Not the entire bedroom. Just one drawer. Maybe it's the drawer where you keep random things, old batteries, receipts, pens that don't work anymore. You take a deep breath, you sit down, and you gently go through it. You decide what stays, what goes, and what doesn't belong there at all. And then, something surprising happens. You finish. There's a small sense of accomplishment. A quiet feeling of, I did that. And that feeling matters more than you might think. Because decluttering isn't really about the stuff. It's about building momentum. It's about showing yourself that you can make decisions, that you can let go, and that you can create change, one tiny step at a time. I remember speaking with a woman who said she avoided cleaning out her closet for 5 years because it felt too emotional and too big. But one afternoon, she decided to just organize one shelf. That's all. And by the end of that hour, she felt lighter, calmer, and, most importantly, ready to come back the next day. That's the power of starting small. Now, once you've chosen your small space, there's another gentle trick that can make this process feel even easier and more manageable. And that is using what I like to call the 20-minute rule. Here's how it works. You set a timer for 20 minutes. Just 20. Not an hour. Not an entire afternoon. Just 20 minutes. During those 20 minutes, you focus only on your small space. No distractions. No wandering off to another room. No trying to reorganize the entire house. Just that one area. And when the timer goes off, you stop. Even if you feel like you could keep going, you give yourself permission to pause. Maybe you sit down with a cup of tea. Maybe you step outside for some fresh air. The point is, you've done your part for the day. This might sound counterintuitive. You might be thinking, why stop if I'm on a roll? But here's the secret. this isn't about finishing everything quickly. It's about creating a habit that feels sustainable and even enjoyable. Because when something feels manageable, you're far more likely to come back to it tomorrow. And there's another benefit to this approach. It protects your energy. At this stage in life, your energy is precious. You don't want to spend hours exhausting yourself, only to feel sore, frustrated, or overwhelmed afterward. Short, focused sessions allow you to make real progress without draining yourself. And over time, those 20-minute sessions add up in a beautiful way. One drawer turns into a shelf. One shelf turns into a closet. One closet turns into a room. Before you even realize it, your home begins to feel different. Lighter. Calmer. More like a place where you can truly relax. And something else begins to shift too. As you let go of physical clutter, you may notice that your thoughts feel clearer. Decisions become easier. Even your mood can improve. It's almost as if you're creating space not just in your home, but inside yourself as well. So if you're sitting there thinking, I should really start decluttering, but I don't know where to begin, I want you to remember this moment. You don't need a big plan. You don't need an entire weekend. You just need one small space and 20 minutes. And once you begin, you might be surprised at how good it feels to keep going. Because the truth is, you deserve a home that supports you, not one that overwhelms you. You deserve to walk into a room and feel peace instead of pressure. And gently, step by step, you can create that. Now, as you begin to feel a little more comfortable with taking those small steps and working in those gentle 20-minute sessions, something else often happens. You start noticing how easy it is to get distracted. You might be going through a drawer in your bedroom and suddenly find a coffee mug that belongs in the kitchen. So you walk to the kitchen to put it away, and while you're there, you notice the counter is messy. Then you start wiping it down. Maybe you open a cabinet. Maybe you make yourself a cup of tea. And before you know it, that original drawer you started with is still sitting there, half finished. If you've ever done that, don't worry. It's completely normal. In fact, it happens to almost everyone. That's why the next idea is so helpful, and it can make a big difference in how smoothly your decluttering process goes. It's all about learning how to focus on one area at a time. When you choose a space to work on, whether it's a drawer, a shelf, or a small corner of a room, your only job in that moment is to stay with that space. Not the whole house. Not even the rest of the room. Just that one spot. Think of it as giving your attention a home. Because the moment your attention starts wandering, your energy follows it. And instead of finishing something and feeling that sense of completion, you end up with several half-done tasks. And that can feel even more overwhelming than when you started. So here's a gentle trick you can try. If other areas around you are pulling your attention, cover them. You can literally place a light sheet or towel over nearby surfaces, or simply turn your body away from them. Create a small visual boundary so your eyes and your mind stay focused on what's right in front of you. It might feel a little strange at first, but it works beautifully. I once heard from a woman who said that every time she tried to declutter her living room, she would end up reorganizing her entire house instead. Nothing ever got finished. So one day, she decided to focus on just one small side table. She cleared everything else out of sight, sat down, and gave that table her full attention. 20 minutes later, it was completely done, and for the first time, she felt in control of the process. That's the kind of shift we're looking for. Not perfection. Just focus. Now, even when you stay focused on one area, you're still going to come across items that don't belong there. That's just part of the process. And this is where another simple, but powerful idea comes in. something that can save you a lot of time and keep you from getting pulled off track. It's called the transit box. Imagine having a simple box, basket, or even a reusable shopping bag sitting beside you while you work. As you go through your chosen area, any item that doesn't belong there goes into that box. Maybe it's that coffee mug from the bedroom. Maybe it's a book that belongs in another room. Maybe it's a pair of glasses, a scarf, or even something completely random like a kitchen utensil that somehow ended up in the living room. Instead of stopping what you're doing and walking around the house to put each item back in its proper place, you simply place it in your transit box. That's it. You don't interrupt your flow. You don't leave your space. You just keep going. And this is more important than it might seem. Because every time you leave your space, even for a minute, you risk losing your momentum. You risk getting distracted, starting something new, or even forgetting what you were doing in the first place. But when you use a transit box, you stay anchored. You stay present. You finish what you started. Then, when your 20 minutes are up, or when you've completed your area, you can take that box and return everything to where it belongs in one simple trip. It turns something that could have been 10 interruptions into one easy task. And there's something very satisfying about that. Now, as you continue through your decluttering journey, you're going to run into another kind of challenge. And this one isn't about distraction, it's about emotion. You'll pick up an item and feel a little tug in your heart. Maybe it's something your children made years ago. Maybe it's a gift from someone you love. Maybe it's something you haven't used in a long time, but it reminds you of a different time in your life. And in that moment, you might find yourself stuck. You don't want to throw it away, but you're not sure you really need to keep it either. This is where many people stop. Not because they are lazy or unmotivated, but because letting go can feel deeply personal. So instead of forcing yourself to make a decision right then and there, I want to introduce you to a much kinder approach. You create what's called a dilemma box. This is a place for anything you're unsure about. Items that feel too important to throw away, but not quite important enough to confidently keep. When you come across one of these items, you simply place it in the dilemma box and move on. No pressure. No overthinking. No emotional struggle in that moment. You're giving yourself permission to decide later. And that can be incredibly freeing. Because when you remove that pressure, you can keep moving forward. You can continue making progress without getting stuck on one difficult decision. Later on, maybe after a few days or even a week, you can come back to that box with a fresh perspective. Sometimes, you'll open it and realize you don't even remember what's inside. And that tells you something. Other times, you'll see an item and instantly know, yes, this matters. This stays. And either way, the decision becomes clearer. Some women even find it helpful to invite a friend over and go through that box together. Just talking about the items out loud can bring surprising clarity. Because often, it's not the object itself we're holding on to, it's the memory, the feeling, the story behind it. And the beautiful thing is, you can honor those memories without keeping every physical item. You can take a photo. You can write about it. You can keep one meaningful piece instead of 10. Little by little, you begin to shift from holding on to everything to choosing what truly matters. And that's where the real transformation begins. And as that shift begins to happen, when you move from holding on to everything to thoughtfully choosing what truly matters, you may notice something very gentle, but very powerful, changing inside you. It's not just your home that starts to feel lighter. It's you. There's a quiet kind of freedom that comes when you open a drawer and everything inside it has a purpose. When you walk into a room and nothing is pulling at your attention or asking for your energy. When your space feels calm instead of crowded. And the beautiful thing is, this isn't about perfection. It's not about having a picture-perfect home or getting rid of everything you own. It's about creating a space that reflects who you are now, not who you were 20 or 30 years ago. Because life changes. You change. And your home deserves to change with you. You may find that as you let go of certain things, you're also letting go of old expectations, old roles, even old versions of yourself. And that can feel emotional at times. It's completely okay if you pause, if you feel a little nostalgic, or even if you shed a few tears along the way. Many women do. But what often comes next is something even more meaningful. A sense of clarity, a sense of control, and a renewed connection to what really brings you joy today. And here's something I want you to remember as you continue this journey. Decluttering isn't something you do once and then forget about. It's not a one-time project you check off your list. It's a way of living. It becomes a gentle habit, a mindset, a quiet promise you make to yourself that you won't let things pile up again in a way that weighs you down. You might start noticing little changes in how you bring things into your home. Before buying something new, you pause and ask yourself, do I really need this? Does it add something meaningful to my life? And sometimes, you might decide that if something new comes in, something else goes out. Not as a strict rule, but as a way of keeping your space balanced and intentional. Over time, this becomes second nature. Your home stays lighter. Your mind stays clearer. And your energy can go toward the things that truly matter, your health, your relationships, your interests, and the moments that make you feel alive. And the most important part of all of this is that you go at your own pace. There's no rush. There's no deadline. You don't have to clear out your entire house in a week, or even a month. What matters is that you begin. That you take that first small step, and then another and another. Because every drawer you clear, every item you let go of, every decision you make with intention, it all adds up. And before you know it, your home begins to feel like a place of peace again. A place where you can sit with your morning tea, take a deep breath, and feel truly at ease. If you've been thinking about decluttering for a while, maybe this is your moment. Not to do everything, but just to begin. Maybe later today, you choose one small drawer. You set your timer for 20 minutes. You stay focused on that one space. You keep a little box beside you for things that belong elsewhere. And if something feels too hard to decide on, you gently place it in your dilemma box and move on. That's all. That's enough. Because progress doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. It comes from doing something consistently. And you are absolutely capable of that. Now, I would really love to hear from you. Have you ever tried to declutter your home before? What worked for you and what felt challenging? Do you have your own little system or routine that helps you stay on track? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel Elderly Faith Journey for more simple, practical ideas to help you live a calmer, happier life at any age. You deserve a home that supports you. You deserve a space that brings you peace. And you deserve to feel light, free, and comfortable in the life you've created. So take a deep breath, start small, and trust yourself along the way. Here's to living your best life, right where you are, just as you are.